There's a kind of insight they'll never whisper in classrooms. You won't find it etched in textbooks, nor will polite society ever dare to articulate its true nature. Yet when its presence is felt, a primal unease ripples through a room. It doesn't shimmer with brilliance. It craves no adulation. Instead, it thrives in the quiet, the invisible executing its purpose with surgical precision. You've witnessed it, haven't you? The person whose voice never rises yet, their subtle command guides every breath in the space. The woman whose pleasant smile belies an intricate web of unseen threads, deftly manipulated. They speak rarely, but when their voice cuts through the air, people don't just hear, they listen. Not because of volume, but because their words are sharpened instruments designed to pierce. This isn't the intellect celebrated on pedestals. This is dark intelligence. And once its veiled mechanics unfold before you, the world you thought you knew will dissolve, revealing its true, unforgiving contours. For this mind doesn't merely react. It observes. It doesn't plead. It positions. It doesn't fight. It simply quietly concludes. Machiavelli didn't laud intellect for its dazzling light, but for its inherent danger, its formidable capacity to dominate without ever stepping into the spotlight. If a whisper deep inside has always told you you're different, not softer, but sharper, more keenly attuned to the undercurrents, then this is for you. Because the moment you unearth this buried potential, you will cease to be ordinary. They won't tell you this. Not in any hallowed hall of academia, not within the pages of esteemed volumes, and certainly not in the polite murmurings of conventional circles. Because if the masses truly grasped the profound depths of how dark intelligence operates, they would sense its chilling power long before you ever had to lift a finger. You don't embark on this path by simply acquiring knowledge. You begin by noticing. Initially, you're merely quiet. You absorb far more than you articulate. You let the words of others hang in the air, listening intently enough to discern the hairline fractures in their carefully constructed narratives. You offer a polite smile to jokes that carry no genuine humor, not because amusement stirs within you, but because you're cataloging those desperate for a fleeting flicker of validation. You aren't cold yet, but the frost is settling in. The world around you, in its frenetic dance, often feels like a theater of the absurd. People squabble over trifles, fiercely defending fabrications simply to safeguard their fragile egos. They raise their voices in a desperate attempt to drown out their own fear, projecting an illusion of strength while crumbling inwardly. You are a silent witness to this unfolding drama, and little by little you begin to decipher the underlying code beneath the surface chaos. It all begins with a singular stark truth. Human beings become remarkably predictable when they falsely believe they are safe. And it is into this manufactured security that you, the architect of unseen forces, subtly, almost imperceptibly glide. You learn to pose precisely the right questions, not to solicit answers in the conventional sense, but to coax people into inadvertently exposing what they strive so diligently to conceal. You offer them the unsettling void of silence, allowing their own discomfort to unmask them. You permit their unbridled emotions to scrawl their own confessions across their faces, through their gestures, in the tremor of their voices. And while they mistakenly perceive you as harmless and unassuming presence, you are meticulously, relentlessly accumulating intelligence, quietly, utterly comprehensively. Dark intelligence requires no cacophony. It thrives in profound stillness. It flourishes in those unsuspecting spaces where others are far too comfortable, too unguarded to erect their defenses. And gradually, relentlessly, your very consciousness begins to transform. You no longer perceive individuals for the polished facades they present. Your discerning gaze penetrates deeper, identifying utility, mapping out vulnerabilities, assessing potential leverage, calculating inherent risks. You spot the liar before a single deceitful word escapes their lips, the insecure individual, before they embark on their desperate display of bravado, the nascent traitor before the first whisper of disloyalty forms. You gain a crucial 5-second lead on everyone else. 5 steps ahead, always. Because your mind is no longer tethered by the capricious currents of emotion. It has become a purely tactical instrument. That precisely is the pivotal moment. Not when you become ostensibly smarter, but when the last vestiges of naivete are meticulously excised from your being. You come to the chilling realization that absolute truth often matters far less than what people are persuaded to believe. That trust so often revered is merely a versatile tool. That the vast majority of humanity is living a complex lie, both to themselves and to you. And if you can master the intricate art of orchestrating their illusions, you can, with unsettling ease, orchestrate them. This is dark intelligence. It transcends raw IQ. It dismisses fleeting charm. It scoffs at mere diligence. It is control through perception. You begin to wield your words not as conversational pleasantries, but as precise instruments measured, intentional, never squandered. You release truths like a slow-acting poison, insidious, untraceable, and utterly irreversible. You cease to expend energy defending your position. You stop offering elaborate explanations for your decisions. You no longer react to disrespect, because you now possess the chilling expertise to ensure regret blossoms without a single confrontational word. You are no longer merely playing by their pre-established rules. You are with chilling foresight, bending the entire game to conform to your intricate design. You never expose the full expanse of your intellect. You keep your true aspirations veiled. You never betray the slightest hint of pain when someone attempts to wound you, for in your evolving world, pain is merely another invaluable data point. You are in the silent, profound process of becoming someone else entirely. Not cold in the conventional sense, not cruel, but undeniably ruthlessly strategic. This is the metamorphosis Machiavelli himself most admired. The quiet, internal reshaping. When an individual ceases their futile attempts to conform to a fractured world and begins instead to painstakingly reshape it. And the most chilling aspect, no one truly comprehends the full extent of what you've become until it is irrevocably, tragically, too late. They persist in their naive belief that you are still harmless, still innocent, still just the quiet observer. They fail to grasp that they are already ensnared within the meticulously woven threads of your design, a net you have been constructing for months, perhaps even years. And now you no longer need power. You are power. This is the genesis of dark intelligence. Not in a sudden flash of genius, but in the countless quiet hours of relentless observation, profound understanding, and the deliberate construction of a mind so inherently formidable that it never needs to announce its presence. Welcome to the new iteration of you, the version that no longer pursues anything, because now everything gravitates towards you. And no one, absolutely no one, will see it coming. You've crossed a silent threshold. The compulsion to be liked, to be affirmed by external mirrors, has withered within you. You've cultivated a deeper capacity for listening than for speaking. And now you're not merely intelligent. You are in a profound and unsettling way becoming dangerous. But what precisely does this mean? It signifies that you've begun to cultivate attributes that ordinary people instinctively recoil from, even if they can't quite articulate the source of their unease. These are the 5 core characteristics of the dangerously intelligent, each one silent, each one a potent force. Trait 1: emotional disconnection. The very first thing they will notice about you is your unsettling calm. You simply don't react as they anticipate. Insults glance off you, leaving no mark. Pressure which would shatter others finds you unyielding. Why? Because you are no longer a puppet of your emotions. You've severed the direct cords of control. This isn't suppression, it's a profound analytical study. Your anger isn't a blinding rage, it transforms into cool, calculated analysis. Your sadness isn't a debilitating weight, it becomes a wellspring for strategic foresight. Your fear isn't a paralyzing grip, it morphs into acute, preemptive awareness. You no longer permit your feelings to dictate your actions. Instead, you allow them to serve as a precise lens, revealing the emotional vulnerabilities that cripple others. While they scream and descend into panic, you remain in stillness, calculating. That silence isn't an absence, it's the audible sound of a mind being relentlessly sharpened. Trait 2: surgical observation. You no longer merely look at people, you dissect them. Your gaze is not casual, it is penetrating. You observe their hands as they speak, searching for tells. Your eyes linger on theirs when they lie, discerning the flicker of deceit. You listen to the subtle shifts in their tone when a hidden agenda surfaces. You hear what remains unsaid, the unspoken anxieties, the quiet desperation. You perceive the tension that coils in the air when someone guards a secret. You don't require their confession, you already know. This characteristic makes your presence unsettling, almost unnerving. People feel transparent in your presence, and it genuinely frightens them, for deep down they sense your uncanny ability to pinpoint their most profound weaknesses. Machiavelli, with his stark clarity, once articulated, "The promise given was a necessity of the past. The word broken is a necessity of the present." You embody this understanding. You anticipate betrayal not with paranoia, but with an objective certainty, observing its nascent form even before it fully materializes. Trait 3: controlled presence. When you step into a space, there's no need to utter a single word to command attention. Your very presence is a deliberate act, an intentional projection. Your silence often reverberates with more authority than the loudest clamor. Why? Because you're not striving to be merely interesting, you're meticulously cultivating an air of unreadability. The dangerously intelligent grasp the profound power inherent in mystery. You unveil precisely enough to pique curiosity, to draw them in, but never enough to become predictable. Humans inherently fear what they cannot fully comprehend, and you provide them with just the right dose of uncertainty to keep them perpetually cautious. You've mastered the art of knowing that true power isn't about being omnipresent. It's about the unsettling void felt in your absence. You cultivate rarity, and rarity, you understand, is an undeniable form of power. Trait 4: strategic speech. Most individuals speak to fill the emptiness of silence. You, however, speak to implant ideas. Every word is a calculated move, every sentence a subtle signal. You wield pauses, inflections of tone, and carefully framed questions like precision instruments. You don't overtly convince, you skillfully guide people to convince themselves. Your discourse is surgically precise, designed to subtly distract, to gently unsettle, to imperceptibly influence. You possess an innate sense of precisely when to offer a compliment, when to maintain absolute silence, and crucially when that silence will land with more crushing impact than any eloquent argument. This makes you truly formidable, because the moment you open your mouth, the very trajectory of the conversation bends irrevocably in your favor, not through overt force, but through an almost invisible persuasive current. Trait 5. Unshakable self-reliance. The final trait is the crucible that shatters most individuals but forges the dangerously intelligent into an indomitable force. You no longer possess a fundamental need for anyone or anything external. Praise holds no sway over you. Recognition is a fleeting, inconsequential whisper. You don't even require comprehension from others because you have become your own solitary wellspring of validation. And when an individual has nothing left to prove, absolutely nothing to gain from external approval, they become quite simply untouchable. People often attempt to exert control through the insidious mechanisms of guilt, shame, and obligation. Yet these ancient chains now fall harmlessly from you. You have, with cold precision, interred the old version of yourself, the one who once yearned for clarity, pleaded for loyalty, or craved affection. Now you move like an elusive specter. You materialize when your presence serves a strategic purpose. You vanish when it's time for them to truly feel the chilling void of your absence. This singular trait grants you a power far greater than any title or any material weapon. For the one who needs nothing, absolutely nothing, can be manipulated by nothing. These 5 profound traits do not render you human in the conventional comfortable sense that others expect. They transform you into an anomaly, a potent force operating within a world teeming with noise. Because they can't quite articulate why, but your very existence makes them profoundly uneasy. That is dark intelligence, and you have only just begun to understand its depths. Dark intelligence in its raw, potent form means precisely nothing if it remains dormant. Power unexercised is merely a well-kept secret. So now our focus shifts. We transition from the meticulous act of observation to the decisive realm of execution. You have painstakingly developed these formidable traits. You have, in essence, sharpened the very blade of your mind. Now it is time to wield this weapon. Here is how you deploy dark intelligence in plain sight every single day with a subtlety that ensures you remain undetected. First, control conversations without ever appearing to dominate them. Most people engage in dialogue with the singular aim of winning. You, however, speak to guide. Allow others the indulgence of talking. Let their words become the very medium through which they inadvertently expose themselves. Your true objective is not to impress. It is to meticulously extract raw data. Pose questions that seem innocent on the surface, yet slice with surgical precision into the core of their thinking. Why do you genuinely believe that? How did that particular situation truly make you feel? What specifically transpired after that? These seemingly innocuous inquiries subtly dismantle their defenses. They create an illusion of being deeply understood, making people feel seen and thus safe. But what you are truly doing is pinpointing their vulnerabilities, locating the precise points of leverage. Then utter just enough to subtly shift their perspective, never enough to reveal the intricate workings of your own mind. You are not merely participating in the conversation, you are orchestrating it from within an invisible conductor of their thoughts. Second, leverage silence as a formidable form of pressure. The vast majority of people find silence unbearable. They rush instinctively to fill its void, to explain themselves, to justify their positions, to offer apologies where none are needed. But you embrace silence. Someone attempts a thinly veiled manipulation, offer nothing but stillness. Let them flounder. Let them drown in the unspoken weight of their own deceit or guilt. They anticipate resistance, a heated retort, an emotional reaction. You provide them with unwavering stillness. And that stillness, that profound absence of response, radiates power because, in essence, it is power. Learn to pause deliberately before you speak. Hold your gaze on another person for a fraction of a second too long, allowing them to feel the profound weight of being truly seen. That discomfort, that palpable unease that is your lever of control. You never needed to raise your voice. You never will. They felt your undeniable presence without a single sound. Third, mirror their emotions, then subtly redirect them. If someone arrives consumed by anger, skillfully match their energy, not their aggression. If they reveal their deep insecurity, adopt a subtle air of uncertainty yourself. If they swell with pride, assume a posture of genuine humility. Then, with an almost imperceptible flick of the wrist, turn the mirror around. Twist their own emotions gently to guide them precisely where you need them to go. Anger, redirect it subtly towards a carefully chosen third party. Insecurity, offer a seemingly innocent compliment meticulously crafted to align them with your overarching objective. Pride, employ artful flattery designed to position them exactly where they serve your design. This is the essence of manipulation, devoid of force. You don't push people. You allow them to walk precisely where you desire them to go, willingly believing it was their own ingenious idea all along. Fourth, strategically unveil your intentions only after the victory is secured. Never under any circumstance announce your grand designs before they come to fruition. Never explain the intricate motives behind your actions. Allow people the luxury of misunderstanding you. Encourage them to misjudge your capabilities, to fatally underestimate your depth. Then, when the outcome has irrefutably swung in your favor, reveal the stark truth, quietly, coldly, undeniably. They will realize far too late that they were integral components of your strategy from the very beginning. And nothing, absolutely nothing, haunts an individual more profoundly than the chilling realization that they, with their own hands, unknowingly helped construct their own defeat. That is power. That is dark intelligence in its most devastatingly elegant form. Fifth, never wield power emotionally. This is the precipice where most aspiring individuals stumble and fall. They allow their emotions to hijack their judgment. They punish others to seek fleeting satisfaction. They launch attacks to merely prove a point. You, however, operate with a pristine, cold intention. If you decide to remove someone from your sphere of influence, execute it with surgical cleanliness. No shouting, no public spectacle, no lingering emotional debris. Just a quiet, decisive exile. A door closed without so much as a warning. If someone dares to cross you, never react in the immediate moment. Wait. Gather. Strike only when it serves your ultimate benefit, not the fleeting gratification of your ego. Because dark intelligence is not about petty revenge. It is about calculated, precise correction. Make your responses feel as though the universe itself is course-correcting a mistake, rather than you nursing a petty grudge. Sixth, keep your depth perpetually hidden. Never expose the full expanse of your mind. People may respect intelligence, but they intrinsically fear what they cannot fully comprehend. So offer them approximately 60%. Just enough to appear remarkably sharp, undeniably capable. Never enough to reveal the intricate tapestry of your true strategy. If they genuinely believe they understand you, they will feel a false sense of security. And when individuals feel safe, they inevitably become sloppy complacent. That precisely is your opportune moment. That is when you initiate your most impactful moves. The wisest move always is to let them harbor the delusion that they are somehow smarter than you. Let them unknowingly walk directly into the intricate trap you meticulously constructed with their unwitting assistance. You don't require a visible throne to rule. You don't need public status to secure victory. Dark intelligence is the very embodiment of silent domination. It is the profound capacity to subtly move people to imperceptibly influence outcomes and to exert unparalleled control over your environment without ever being identified as the source. This is the essence of what Machiavelli truly meant when he championed the cunning fox over the roaring lion. Anyone can roar, but the fox prevails by possessing the intimate knowledge of precisely where to step and crucially who to bite when absolutely no one is watching. By now your mind is not merely sharp, it is meticulously weaponized, and they will never know the full extent of it until it is devastatingly too late. The most treacherous arena isn't the battlefield, nor is it the cutthroat world of politics. It is unequivocally relationships. This is where most people unravel where logic is sacrificed at the altar of raw emotion. It's where individuals plead justify and willingly surrender their innate power, all in the misguided name of love, loyalty, or debilitating guilt. But when you operate with the precise calibration of dark intelligence, relationships shed their guise as emotional traps. They transform with chilling clarity into intricate power structures. Each interaction becomes a subtle battleground where control is either decisively claimed or irretrievably lost. You begin to perceive the game with startling clarity. Every seemingly casual conversation is a negotiation. Every compliment a potential bribe disguised. Every moment of silence a pregnant signal awaiting deciphering. Most people betray their true intentions far too early. They yearn to be liked, to be understood, to be accepted. So they freely give away their deepest fears, their most profound pains, their entire personal histories, all in the desperate hope of fleeting acceptance. You, however, remain quiet, not out of coldness, but out of meticulous calculation. You allow others to speak first, to unfurl their patterns, to unwittingly wrap the rope around themselves, never realizing you are the one gently handing it to them. You don't reveal your past. You don't explain your standards. You don't correct their convenient misunderstandings. Because the less they truly know about you, the less leverage they possess. And yet you know everything about them. They remain blissfully unaware of the immense volume of data they reveal with every word they utter. You meticulously pick up on the deep-seated insecurity buried beneath their sarcasm, the profound weakness lurking behind their bravado, the hidden motive beneath their most seemingly kind gestures. When people in their misguided confidence attempt to test your boundaries, you don't resist. You simply vanish. Because in your evolving world, disrespect isn't met with confrontation. It is met with disqualification. You grasp a truth that the vast majority will never comprehend. Your silence is infinitely more terrifying than your anger. They anticipate an argument. They brace themselves for an emotional outburst, a furious reaction. But when you simply disappear instead, they are forced into an uncomfortable introspection. A quiet panic begins to set in. They start to see you not as someone they can control, but as someone they have irretrievably lost. This is the devastating power of emotional distance. It renders you rare. It makes you, in essence, untouchable. Soon, subtly, almost imperceptibly, people begin to adjust their behavior around you. Not because you have demanded it with overt command, but because they intuitively feel your unspoken standards. They sense that you are different. You are not striving to be liked. You are not attempting to fix them. You are simply not available in the way others are not readily accessible for their emotional whims. And that enduring mystery, that quiet enigma, inexorably morphs into an undeniable form of control. Not through explicit fear, not through a conventional definition of love, but through an unspoken, visceral understanding that you are simply not someone they can manipulate. People learn often the hard way that superficial affection will not buy them access to you. That loyalty, divorced from strategic utility, holds no meaning. That proximity to you is a coveted privilege, one you can revoke at any given moment. You don't punish with harsh words. You punish with your deliberate absence. And nothing, absolutely nothing, haunts a would-be manipulator more profoundly than being utterly ignored by the one person they utterly failed to control. Dark intelligence doesn't render you heartless. It renders you precise. You do not form emotional attachments by default out of habit or loneliness. You meticulously choose who is granted the rare privilege of seeing you. And even then, you never ever allow them to see the entirety of who you are. This critical distinction sets you irrevocably apart from everyone else. They instinctively chase external validation. You, with calm resolve, pursue uncompromising clarity. They offer love as a shield against loneliness. You offer the profound silence that ruthlessly exposes their desperation. They demand answers. You offer an unwavering stillness. And that stillness becomes truly terrifying, for it signifies that you saw straight through them, and with cold deliberation decided they simply weren't worth your time or your response. By now, you no longer chase hollow apologies. You don't argue for your inherent value. You never repeat your clearly established expectations. You simply and silently withdraw when the energy shifts, when the connection turns false. And those left behind, grappling with your absence, are compelled to confront the chilling question why that is when the regret, a slow, corrosive poison, truly begins to take root. You never raised your voice. You never offered a single explanation. But your eloquent absence spoke volumes, communicating everything that needed to be said. This is how you seize power within relationships, not by attempting to control others, but by achieving absolute, unwavering mastery over yourself. You don't need fleeting affection. You don't need external approval. You don't even need to be understood, because you have meticulously constructed something far more potent, a presence that cannot be controlled, and a mind that no one, absolutely no one, dares to play games with. And that, in its essence, is how you dominate in profound silence. By now, something profound has shifted within you. The knee-jerk reactions that once governed your responses have dissolved. You no longer feel the urge to explain yourself, to engage in futile arguments, or to overextend your efforts in pursuit of external validation. You have become still, yet you are far from passive. You have embraced quietness, yet you are anything but weak. This is the transformative power of dark intelligence. It meticulously refines you into a formidable weapon that never needs to be overtly drawn. You can step into any room, utter not a single word, yet every eye will inevitably turn towards you. This isn't due to superficial charm, nor is it a manufactured performance. It is because you emanate a presence that feels simultaneously unpredictable and utterly untouchable. You no longer possess a fundamental need to dominate, because you have, in essence, simply outgrown the game itself. People will inevitably underestimate you, and that you will discover is your most cherished advantage. You have mastered the art of wearing masks when the situation demands of speaking in subtle layers and of leaving no discernible fingerprints behind your influence. You have become unreadable, unshakable, unstoppable. This precisely is the final form. Not a boisterous genius demanding attention, not a public mastermind orchestrating from a visible podium, but a ghost in the intricate machinery of the system itself, quietly moving the crucial pieces, while others fruitlessly beg to comprehend the very rules of engagement. You no longer seek petty revenge. You simply erase people from your sphere of influence. You possess no need to win superficial arguments. You are solely concerned with winning decisive outcomes. Because real power isn't loudly displayed, it is profoundly, undeniably felt. And you have transformed into the kind of individual who doesn't need to be explicitly seen to be profoundly feared. The kind of individual who doesn't chase, but effortlessly attracts, who doesn't react impulsively, but meticulously designs, who doesn't break under pressure, but calmly observes others collapse under the crushing weight of your strategic silence. You have irrevocably ceased playing their game. You have begun instead to meticulously create your own. This is the chilling consequence when raw intelligence turns cold, when observation transcends mere looking and blossoms into chillingly accurate prediction, when emotion is no longer your master, but your precise, obedient tool. This transformation isn't about being inherently better in a moral sense. It is about being fundamentally smarter than the system itself. Machiavelli, with his characteristic pragmatism, would assert, "Men are driven by two principal impulses, either by love or by fear. But dark intelligence offers you a profound third path control without requiring either. They don't need to feel affection for you. They don't need to tremble in terror at your presence. They simply need to know. They need to feel your presence, watching silently, meticulously, permanently. And now, if you have journeyed this far, you are no longer merely curious. You are unequivocally ready. Ready to shed the chains of predictability. Ready to break free from the invisible threads of manipulation. Ready to fully embrace being dangerously intelligent. So here is your next crucial move. Absorb these truths, internalize them, and step deeper into a world where power operates in silence and intelligence itself becomes lethal. Because this, my friend, is merely the beginning. You've stopped playing their game. That's the first most crucial shift. The old self, the one that reacted, explained, argued, and constantly overextended itself for others, is now a distant echo. You've become still, yes, but not in the way they expect. Not passive, not weak. This stillness is a profound active force, the quiet hum of a mind refined into a weapon that never needs to be explicitly drawn. Walk into any room now and you can say absolutely nothing, yet watch how every eye instinctively gravitates towards you. It's not charm, not a performance. It's the sheer undeniable presence you carry. A presence that feels utterly unpredictable, profoundly unreadable, and most unnervingly untouchable. You no longer chase dominance because you've simply outgrown the need for the game itself. Let them underestimate you. That you'll find is your most potent, most cherished advantage. You've mastered the art of wearing masks when the moment calls for it, of speaking in layers of meaning that only you can fully decipher. You leave no fingerprints on your influence, no discernible trace of your touch. You are unreadable, unshakable, unstoppable. This is the culmination, the final form. Not the loud genius who craves the spotlight, not the public mastermind whose moves are heralded. You are the ghost in the machine, the silent architect moving the pieces on the board, while others desperately beg to understand the very rules of engagement. You don't seek petty revenge. You simply erase people from your board. You don't need to win trivial arguments. Your focus is solely on winning decisive outcomes. True power isn't about being seen. It's about being undeniably, palpably felt. And you've become the kind of person who doesn't need to be visible to be profoundly feared. The kind of person who doesn't chase but effortlessly attracts, who doesn't react but meticulously designs, who doesn't break but watches others collapse under the crushing weight of your strategic silence. This is what happens when intelligence turns cold, when raw observation matures into chillingly accurate prediction, when emotion is no longer your master, but your precise, obedient tool. This transformation isn't about some moral superiority. It's about being fundamentally structurally smarter than the entire system itself. Machiavelli, with his stark, unflinching wisdom, would tell you, men are driven by two principal impulses, either by love or by fear. But dark intelligence unveils a third, more potent path control, without requiring either. They don't need to love you. They don't need to explicitly fear you. They just need to know. They need to feel your presence, watching silently, meticulously, permanently. And now, if you've journeyed this far, you're not just curious. You are unequivocally ready. Ready to shed the chains of predictability. Ready to break free from the invisible threads of manipulation. Ready to fully embrace being dangerously intelligent. So here is your next crucial move. Internalize these truths. Let them reshape your perception. And step deeper into a world where power operates in silence and intelligence itself becomes lethal. Because this, my friend, is just the beginning. You've crossed a line. The subtle shift within you is now undeniable. You no longer react on impulse, you don't explain, you don't argue, and you never overextend yourself for the sake of others' approval. You have become still, yet you are not passive. You are quiet, yet you are far from weak. This is the profound alchemy of dark intelligence. It refines you into a weapon that doesn't need to be drawn, a force that operates without overt display. Walk into any room now and utter not a single word. Yet watch. Every eye will inevitably turn towards you. This isn't because of superficial charm, nor is it a practiced performance. It's because you carry a presence that feels both utterly unpredictable and profoundly untouchable. You no longer chase dominance, for you've simply outgrown the game of overt power struggles. They will underestimate you, and you will find this to be your most potent, most cherished advantage. You've mastered the intricate art of wearing masks when the situation demands of speaking in layers of meaning that only you truly understand. You leave no discernible fingerprints behind your influence, no obvious trace of your touch. You are unreadable, unshakable, unstoppable. This is the final form. Not the loud genius who demands the spotlight, not the public mastermind whose every move is analyzed. You are the ghost in the system, quietly moving the pieces on the board, while others desperately try to grasp the very rules of the game. You don't seek petty revenge. You simply erase people from your board. You don't need to win trivial arguments. Your sole focus is on securing decisive outcomes. Real power isn't loudly displayed. It is profoundly, undeniably felt. And you've become the kind of person who doesn't need to be seen to be profoundly feared. The kind of person who doesn't chase, but effortlessly attracts, who doesn't react, but meticulously designs, who doesn't break, but calmly watches others collapse under the crushing weight of your strategic silence. This is what happens when raw intelligence turns cold, when keen observation matures into chillingly accurate prediction, when emotion is no longer your master, but your precise, obedient tool. This transformation isn't about being better in a moral sense. It's about being fundamentally structurally smarter than the system itself. Machiavelli, with his stark, unflinching wisdom, would tell you, men are driven by two principal impulses, either by love or by fear. But dark intelligence offers a profound third path control without requiring either. They don't need to love you. They don't need to explicitly fear you. They just need to know. They need to feel your presence, watching silently, meticulously, permanently. And now, if you've journeyed this far, you're not just curious. You are unequivocally ready. Ready to shed the chains of predictability. Ready to break free from the invisible threads of manipulation. Ready to fully embrace being dangerously intelligent. So here is your next crucial move. Internalize these truths. Let them reshape your perception. And step deeper into a world where power operates in silence and intelligence itself becomes lethal. Because this, my friend, is just the beginning. You stand now at a precipice. The old ways, the instinctive reactions, the urge to explain or argue or overextend yourself, they've fallen away. A profound stillness has settled within you, not the stillness of passivity, but the quiet power of a refined weapon, one that doesn't need to be drawn. Walk into any space, say nothing, yet watch. Every eye turns. It isn't charm, it isn't a performance. It's the sheer, undeniable presence you carry. Unpredictable, unreadable, untouchable. You no longer chase dominance because you've simply outgrown the game. They will underestimate you, and you will find that to be your most potent, most cherished advantage. You've mastered the intricate art of wearing masks, of speaking in subtle layers, of leaving no fingerprints on your influence. You are unreadable, unshakable, unstoppable. This is the final form. Not the loud genius seeking applause, nor the public mastermind whose every move is dissected. You are the ghost in the system, quietly moving pieces, while others beg to understand the rules. You don't seek revenge. You erase people. You don't need to win arguments. You win outcomes. Real power isn't displayed. It's felt. And you've become the kind of person who doesn't need to be seen to be feared. The kind who doesn't chase but attracts, who doesn't react but designs, who doesn't break but watches others collapse under the weight of your silence. This is what happens when intelligence turns cold. When observation becomes prediction. When emotion is no longer your master but your precise tool. This isn't about being better. It's about being fundamentally smarter than the system itself. Machiavelli would tell you, men are driven by two principal impulses, either by love or by fear. But dark intelligence offers a third path control without either. They don't need to love you. They don't need to fear you. They just need to know. They need to feel your presence, watching silently, meticulously, permanently. And now, if you've made it this far, you're not just curious. You're ready. Ready to stop being predictable. Ready to stop being manipulated. Ready to become dangerously intelligent. So here's your next move. Internalize these truths. Let them reshape your perception, and step deeper into the world where power is silent and intelligence is lethal. Because this, my friend, is just the beginning. If these words resonated with you, if they sparked something deep within, then your journey has only just begun. This isn't just a video. This is a doorway. Hit the like button to let us know you're ready to face these hard truths. Subscribe to the channel to continue this exploration into the hidden facets of power and intelligence. And don't forget to turn on notifications so you never miss the next move in this game. Because once you start seeing the world through this lens, everything changes. Join us.